The Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, marked the end of World War I and the beginning of a new era in European history. However, it was also a shock to Germany, who had been defeated in the war and was forced to accept the terms of the treaty. The treaty imposed harsh penalties on Germany, which left the country economically and socially crippled for years to come. This article will examine why the Treaty of Versailles was such a shock for Germany. Background: at the end of World War I, Germany was in a state of crisis. The country had suffered a great deal during the war, and the people were desperate for peace. The German military had been pushed back on all fronts, and it was clear that Germany could not continue the fight any longer. The German government, led by Chancellor Max von Baden, began negotiations for an armistice. On November 11, 1918, an armistice was signed between Germany and the Allied powers, which brought an end to the war. The Germans believed that the armistice was based on U.S. President Woodrow Wilson's 14 points, which aimed to promote peace and prevent future wars. However, the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed 6 months later, was a far cry from Wilson's ideals. Terms of the treaty: the Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh penalties on Germany, which left the country in a state of shock. The treaty contained a number of provisions, which included war guilt. Germany was forced to accept full responsibility for the war and pay reparations to the Allied powers. Territorial losses: Germany lost territory to France, Belgium, Denmark, and Poland. The Saarland was put under French control for 15 years, and Danzig was made a free city under the control of the League of Nations. Military restrictions: Germany was forced to reduce its army to 100,000 men, and was not allowed to have an air force or navy. Economic penalties: Germany was forced to pay large reparations to the Allied powers, which left the country in a state of economic crisis. Impact on Germany: the Treaty of Versailles had a profound impact on Germany, both politically and socially. The harsh penalties imposed by the treaty left the German people feeling humiliated and angry. The country had lost a significant amount of territory and had to pay large reparations to the Allied powers, which left the German economy in a state of crisis. The military restrictions imposed by the treaty also left Germany vulnerable to attack. The country's army had been reduced to a fraction of its former size, and Germany was not allowed to have an air force or navy. This made it difficult for Germany to defend itself against potential enemies. The Treaty of Versailles also had political consequences. The German government, led by Chancellor Philipp Scheidemann, was forced to sign the treaty, despite the fact that many Germans felt that it was unfair. This led to a loss of confidence in the government, which paved the way for the rise of extremist parties such as the Nazi Party. The impact on Europe: the Treaty of Versailles had a significant impact on Europe as a whole. The harsh penalties imposed on Germany left the country in a state of economic crisis, which in turn had a negative impact on the economies of other European countries. The treaty also created a sense of bitterness and resentment among the German people, which contributed to the rise of extremist parties such as the Nazi Party. In conclusion, the Treaty of Versailles was a shock to Germany and had a profound impact on the country both politically and socially. The harsh penalties imposed by the treaty left Germany in a state of economic crisis, and the military restrictions left the country